calling in all entrepreneurs, light workers, star seeds who are here ready to make impact, more money on this earth, and shift to the fifth dimension. Are you ready to ascend? Welcome to another incredible episode of the Ascension Codes podcast. My name is Natalie Paterson, and I'm here with the most fucking amazing legend. I met this guy a few weeks ago at Gary Vee, and we vibed so hard. I was like, oh my God, you have to come on my podcast. He is a wizard around money. So Lloyd James Ross, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Nat, what's up?
What's
Good to be here. I'm so excited for this. I was really looking forward to this week. What a great way to spend a Friday afternoon.
Yay.
Hanging out here in
so
this amazing studio you put together.
Yay.
And talking about Ascension.
Yes, thank you so much for coming.
You
So,
bet. Thanks for
for
having me on.
those of you who don't know who you are, Lloyd, who are you? What do you do? And what is the divine being that you are here to serve, do on this earth?
So I'm from the Gold Coast, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I was born in town, but I really grew up. I moved here when I was 3, right?
cool.
Thankfully, my parents came with me. So that was helpful.
Thank God.
Thank God for that.
You
So
just
we
went,
moved here when I was 3.
running
And
around.
I grew up here, went to school here, I went to university here.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about when I graduated school, as you would know, is that we didn't graduate into the world we are today.
Yeah.
And 23 years have gone by since I left school. And so all the opportunity that's available to people now for entrepreneurship and online,
Yes.
if this had been around then, I'd have sunk my teeth into it.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like this. So you either had to go to uni or get a trade.
Yep.
So I went to university, and my dad actually didn't go to university, and he was a multi-millionaire at 28, a beast. I can't even get into the story that he's had. It's incredible, right?
Wow.
But he didn't go to uni.
Wow.
So what's interesting is,
I need to interview your dad.
yeah, you should.
I
You come down and
should.
do it. Definitely.
Come on,
He'd
Dad.
be awesome. He's a
Yeah.
big.
Is he funny as fuck as well?
He's just a boss.
Yeah,
So anyway,
cool.
getting to the crux of this part of it is that he was like, go to university. Like he's a really influential guy too. So I was like, he was the wealthiest dude I knew too, right?
Wow.
So I was
how
like,
cool to grow
oh,
up around that.
I better listen to this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so went to university. I did biomedical science, which is pre-med. Finished, went overseas, came back, did an MBA when I was 20, finished, got my real estate license, worked for Ray White with Andrew and Greg Bell here in Surfers Paradise.
Wow.
Then went and did a law degree and became a lawyer.
You are
Bang, 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 right? And I'm 23, I've been to
Yeah.
the Supreme Court as a lawyer, all that education behind me, and some sales skills. But I then, I didn't get into law. I had a personality clash.
Did ya?
Yeah, I did. So
no
I didn't.
way.
I was like,
You?
oh God, I shouldn't have even gone to uni. I wasn't even built for that. Although I
Yeah.
could focus and study, right? I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I went overseas and worked for the largest developer in the world.
Wow.
Landed a gig. It was 2008.
What was it
And
doing?
It was doing. I was working as an assistant project manager on the Formula One circuit in Abu Dhabi,
Right.
the Ferrari World theme park, and the hotels on the largest, the 6th largest project in the world, Yas Island. Wow. Yeah, I was a young guy, 23, going to this island,
Yeah.
like just green, and just went for it. And I had a good mentor. It was great, but I was driving to and from work 3 hours a day. So I was like, oh man, I can't do this. Like this is brutal,
Yeah.
right?
No podcast back then, was there?
No, there was no. There was
No.
audiobooks.
Whoa,
So I remember
okay.
chucking on audiobooks in the car, right? And I hired this Toyota Yaris, didn't buy any cars,
Yep.
didn't spend any money.
Cool.
Because I'd read some books when I was younger. My grade 11 English teacher, Mr. Barber, said, go and read these 2 books before you leave school. And I read them because I was open and coachable to learning about money. I knew it was important. I was like,
course.
flipping heck, we need to learn about money. So I read The Richest Man in Babylon and Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Wow. So here's this though, right? So intuition, spirit guides, whatever you want to call it, potentially intervened and gave you those
100%.
books. Yeah.
100%.
You spiritual being, you.
100%.
Wow.
But you know, well, how many boys in that class listened and did it?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Actually, guys, last night I had Lloyd on coaching one of the entrepreneur group containers that I run, and he actually mentioned that, I think, what was the specifics? That 2% of the population of what you say something to actually do
execute.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the 1% club.
So the 1% club.
So
yeah.
maybe 1%, 3 guys in the class. Oh, that's 10%. Maybe no one did.
Yeah, maybe
me.
no one did.
I don't
Maybe
know.
just you.
So I read these books and I was like, how do I make money though? And so the reason I'm telling you that is because when I was in this job, I did save money.
Yeah, right.
I didn't go buy a Ferrari. I didn't spend it. I didn't buy it. I just saved the cash and was ready to invest.
cool.
Anyway, so I was listening to audiobooks in the car. I was like, get me out of this rat race.
Yeah, fucking 3 hours a day is
Yeah.
a long time.
So I listened to Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. I
Wow.
was like, I want a 4-hour flipping work week.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I started thinking about it and I resigned from my job.
Yep.
The only reason I could resign is because I had money, because I saved. All the other people didn't have any
Good one.
cash.
Yeah.
So they were golden handcuffed to
Yeah,
the job.
right.
So I was like, money can buy happiness.
Oh,
So I was like,
wink,
get
wink,
me
nudge,
out, right?
nudge.
Resigned, came into property and was in property marketing and sales and rebuilt our family business back up with my old man, actually.
Wow.
It was amazing. It
Cool.
was the most hectic business experience of my life.
Wow. And how long did you do that for?
7 years.
Yeah, wow. What was your most challenging time that you went through whilst you were there?
All of it.
All of
'Cause
it. Wow.
Yeah, we literally rebuilt it from zero, right?
Wow.
Together. And it was just gnarly. It was just divesting or bringing a business from a lot of overhead down to zero, then back up with digital marketing was the actual experience.
Wow.
And doing it with other things happening that I won't get into that just was majorly difficult.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, bottom line is, when you're going through, like there's this one moment where we had to move offices and we had to do some deals to make the security deposit to pay for the office bond,
Yeah, right.
to then move the staff in, and we're having like meetings in the like it was brutal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I remember going away to Mackay once, and I was doing like sales, so like face-to-face sales in people's houses in the office. Just they
So
come
what were
in
you
and
selling specifically?
selling property,
Oh,
property
right.
investments,
Sorry, property, okay.
right? Basically, and so selling property was I came into it at 28, no experience,
Right.
and I remember sitting there watching my dad, and then for 6 months, and I'd see a client lose, see a client not get a sale, see a client not get a sale. 6 months didn't get a sale.
Yeah, right.
And because I had the cash previously that I'd saved up, I could fund my way into it because it's commission only.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're doing that plus rebuilding the business at the same time.
Right.
So it was like hustle.
Yeah.
And I get to learn from my dad the craft of sales. And he was like the number one insurance salesman in the world for National Mutual in
Oh my God.
1992. So he's a beast.
Dad.
So I get to learn from him, right? So
Right.
I was there to learn too from him as well as rebuild with him.
Yeah.
And so as we're doing that, I remember going to Mackay once and had like 12 in-home appointments to go into someone's house, build rapport, trust, and sell them a $500,000 house
Wow.
in 2 hours and leave. And I had
Nice.
12 appointments set up. So I flew there and I came back and I had done 0 sales.
Fuck. And
No
at that
money.
point where you're like, oh my God.
No, I was like, I pitied the next, like, I'm going to get a deal, right? It's just like, there is no other choice.
Right.
But it's just this feeling of like, oh, is this going to... So what's fascinating about success is that in those moments where you don't make money,
Yeah.
you come away with skills and lessons.
Yeah, nice.
And people say, well, how do I learn how to sell? I'm like, well, you really don't want to know.
Yeah.
Because you
You got to go and do the work, right? There's no better experience than
Yeah.
actually going and doing the job and actually embodying
100%.
it. Totally.
Yeah. So it was like that where you learn your craft. I mean,
Yeah.
the Beatles played, I think it was like 2,000 gigs in pubs in the UK before they were discovered.
Yeah, right. And they just continued, right?
Yeah,
It's
so
just
go
like-
get the gigs.
Yeah.
So I was doing the gig. I wasn't making any money, but eventually I did. And then I did it more. Then I did more. And eventually the business became successful again because we redeployed the marketing.
Yeah.
And now it's kicking ass. But at that point in time, what happened to me was my sister got me involved in network marketing.
Yes.
And network marketing's got a checkered past, and it's got
Yes.
some people succeed, some like anything. But I didn't know anyone that had any success. But when I started, I was like, I love this. This
Yeah.
is fun. Went to an event, enjoyed it. I was like, this is cool, and I
Yeah.
can build a scalable, like subscription business part time from my phone in between my appointments in my property business. So I had a
Right.
second business, chuck it in. It was fun.
Yep.
And it was good for the world, good for people.
Yeah,
right?
great. Awesome.
So then what I did was got it to a point where we scaled it, where it was starting to like compete with the property business. And I'm like, this is global, worldwide, where it gets me on airplanes and goes make
Fuck yeah.
like it was gnarly, it was big and
Yes.
juicy.
Yeah.
So I actually had a conversation with my dad, which was a very uncomfortable conversation,
Yeah.
to actually leave the family, like the business we built, to go and chase this.
Yes.
So I had that, like success is a series of uncomfortable conversations,
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I love this a lot.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
An uncomfortable conversation with yourself.
Yep.
Then you have a war in your head about it for 6 months.
Yes.
And then you actually have the conversation and you're like shitting your pants.
Lloyd.
Right? And then
Yeah,
you get through it
absolutely.
and then you get to grow.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that his business did better from there too, and so did ours. Like, so
Yeah.
it always works out, right? And so that's when we went full-time network marketing. Now, what happened was tremendous success, became a 7-figure earner in the industry, training all over the world, getting free trips. It was the epitome of success in network marketing, right? With my wife, Alicia. Did it together. It's amazing. We're now 9 years into that business, 9.5 years, right? But what you work out is you can't do it full-time. It's a leveraged business model,
Yeah.
which is why it's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm a builder of things. I love business. I love building things. I love people. I love selling. I love marketing. I just love it.
Yeah.
And in the background while this was happening, I was, since being in Dubai and living there, which is where I met my wife actually, we migrated back to Australia to get into the property business and network marketing. And while that was happening, I was always putting away money.
Yeah.
And I was always investing in shares.
Right.
Because I'd read some books about investing and I'd done the CFA charter, which is the hardest exam on Wall Street, while I was in Dubai. So while I was working in my job, I was studying weekends during the week and on my annual leave when my friends were partying in Brazil, my roommates.
Wow.
And I was studying for the CFA charter.
Guys, are you getting a fucking load of this? Like, you're amazing. Lloyd, you're amazing.
I don't think I was pretty dumb because I
This
was
is
spending all my ambition on stuff that wasn't producing money. But anyway, so I did this thing. Now this thing, just so you know,
Tell me.
you can go Google CFA charter.
Okay.
It's a 6-hour closed book exam on all of the topics of finance: equities, derivatives, bonds, options, financial statement analysis,
you are
business
smart.
statistics, maths, right? So I do all this self-study.
Yep.
And it took me 2 goes to pass the first level.
Yeah,
It's only offered once a year.
Oh my goodness.
Once a year.
You are so committed. So it's the tenacity that you have to continuously go and go and go.
Brutal.
Fucking well done.
Brutal. Anyway, I passed the 2 levels. Their pass rate's 30%.
Yep.
So you don't get, only 30% of people pass.
Okay.
Then I went to the level 2, did it again. Then I got to level 3 to finish it. And there's only like 150,000 people worldwide with the CFA designation. And it's the highest finance degree you can get.
Well done.
I
Claps,
didn't get it
Snacks,
because
all the things.
I left at level 3 to pursue network marketing.
Oh, Lloyd.
And so what happens when you go through those shifts in success is you have to lose part of your identity, because my identity is I finish what I start.
I shit you not, I just filmed an episode about identity. Oh, there you go. Synchronicity, guys.
Sometimes you got to like change your, like I'm a guy that finishes stuff.
Absolutely.
And then to go and actually build a successful business, I had to give it away.
Yeah.
And formal education is not the way. It's just not. That's just not the path to happiness. And I can say that because I dare say I'm probably the most educated person in Australia, formally.
Yeah.
I actually don't know anyone that has all those degrees I have.
Yeah, right.
You know, I just don't know anyone.
I don't know anyone either.
So I think it's like I get to smack it around a bit and say, hang on a sec, it doesn't actually get you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of young people see that now, but when I was growing up, there was no actual like YouTube where you can learn this and go to an Alibaba and scalp. Like,
none of that.
None of that stuff, right? And so not even social media existed back then. So I was glad that eventually I figured out that that's not the path.
Yeah.
So self-education is the path, right? What does Jim Rohn say? He says that formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. So anyway, COVID hits and our network marketing business thrives.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. It's set it up to scale online, which is cool. But I had some like more stuff to do, right? Some like ambition. Like, what else can I do? And I had this idea, I want to get a second business, right? And so what's fascinating about the world and how it works and spirituality and so forth is people walk into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yep.
And so I'm on stage at a network marketing event, the biggest event of the year in Australia.
Yep.
Like 4,000 or 5,000 people. I'm doing like this partial keynote talk there. And I get awarded this award, Man of the Year, for the company, which is a huge pinnacle moment for me in that industry.
Well done.
And as that happened, there was a guy in the audience who happened to be in the company and be in the business, and he saw it. And it turns out he was a guy who was running this program called Fight Like a Pro.
Right.
And he's he just got inducted to the Queensland Boxing Hall of Fame. He was the Australian champion.
Wow.
And he was also ranked number 12th in the world. Anyway, his name's Gavin Top. And so he was in the audience and he messaged me like a few months after that and said, hey, it's Gavin, saw your talk, would like to catch up with him. Long story short, he shows me his Fight Like a Pro program.
Yeah.
Right, that he used to do.
Yep.
And it's where you train for 10 weeks and go and have a boxing fight.
Right.
And so previous to that in 2016, as part of our business, I went and competed in bodybuilding and won my first bodybuilding competition.
Fuck yes.
Right? Which is cool.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like no stranger to dedication, discipline, success, right?
Sounds like it. Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, and he challenged me. He's like, would you want to do this? I'm like, yes, I'm put
in.
me in, coach.
Let's go.
Right? So I trained for this thing, do the fight, won the first fight. It was an amazing experience, but I stayed training with him because it was hard. So I stayed sparring at his house and I became really great friends with him.
Yeah.
He's one of my best friends.
Yay.
And so he's this spirit guide. I didn't know it was a spirit guide.
Oh my God, guys. Are you buckling in? Tell us a spiritual story. Go on.
So here's what happens, right? So for me to get some sort of spiritual guidance, there has to be someone who's quite unique, who I respect and admire, but not just respect and admire from a spiritual woo-woo sense. But someone who I can follow.
There's
right?
commitment. There's something.
It's not many people I go, I'm going to listen to you. It's not because
Okay.
most people are a bit of a letdown. Because like, I thought you were this, now you're this.
Okay.
And so I'm assessing whether I can
Trust this man.
just
deeply.
get into, and so it's a friendship that's built over time. Now, what happened was, when we're training together, I'd already got so much value by being with him through the program and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I was at training one day with some of the guys, and I was teaching them about money. And he goes, man, you're so good at this, teaching and the money stuff. I'm like, isn't everyone?
Yeah.
And you don't realize that your background, you're unique. Your background is yours, and you have all these gifts and talents and what's called unfair advantages that not everyone has.
Nice.
Right? So you've got unfair advantages that I don't have, and so forth. So he said, and I was like, and it takes a friend or a mentor to show you those things.
Yeah, totally.
So he said in front of all the guys, he said, you're going to write a book and you're going to do it in 4 weeks.
Wow.
I was like, okay, right. Accountability, belief, so forth. So I write this book, Money Grows on Trees. Now, it didn't take 4 weeks. It took 20 years.
Right.
Because all the stuff in it is 20 years old.
Oh my God, brilliant.
Right?
Brilliant.
It's 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I write this book, and his son helped me, bring it to life and scale it and so forth and build this funnel. And
So
we did it, right? It was fun. And it was fun. It was just because it was a little side project during COVID, where everyone else was like hiding. We're out there in the studio trying to like get through it, right? And we launched it in COVID, and it was a success by and large, right? And it was a success because we failed through it.
Yeah.
and so then, because I was hanging around that, with Gavin more, and we keep talking about it, he wrote a second book. He encouraged me to write a second book, and for some reason, I was on podcasts for the book. So that was my introduction to podcasts, because I didn't listen to them.
Yeah.
Who listens to podcasts? It's so why don't you just listen to an audiobook? Anyway, now I know why, obviously.
Yeah, okay.
So Gary Vee's like, start a podcast. I'm like, oh. And a guy had me on his show. He goes, Lloyd, why don't you start a flipping podcast? I'm like, I don't want to do the studio thing and blah, blah, blah. I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I ended up starting a podcast, Money Grows on Trees, right?
Absolutely.
In COVID, after the book launch. And went for, I think we've done 120, 130, I don't know how many episodes, right?
Not done.
And we got an award for it. We've got 105-star review. It's a very successful podcast.
Great.
Anyway, what happened was we launched our newest book, Money Buys Happiness, off the back of the success we've had. Yeah. Telling this whole story that I'm telling you.
Yes. Great.
Right?
Yes.
And so what's fascinating is we wrote that after we actually wrote our first book after our share portfolio went past 7 figures.
Well done.
So this thing's happening in the background. So I'm trying to piece all this together in these lessons and
Compile them.
compile them and encapsulate them in this book.
Yeah.
And we go and build this financial education business, right?
Fuck yeah.
And we scaled it. Within 2 years beyond, we just won a 2 Comma Club award with ClickFunnels.
Yes, well
because
done.
of this education business. Because what I learned was, see, on your journey, you learn what people need.
Yeah.
So in the network marketing industry, I realized people didn't have the financial knowledge that I had, and they didn't have the financial behavior. They didn't have all the things they needed to actually just not make money, but keep it and grow it.
Yeah.
So that's what I put in the book, because I felt that's what the world needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why we created this successful financial education business, because it was meeting the need, right? And so that's been a success. But the reason I'm talking about Gavin as a spirit guide is because on the journey, he reawakens this my Christianity, like
beautiful.
the element of spirit that's in me and the spiritual gifts that I have that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Because it's God led. It just is.
Yeah,
because
it just is.
How do you come up with ideas?
Yeah.
And why are they your ideas?
Yeah.
Why don't you come up with them?
Yeah.
Because you have these gifts that are yours.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And so Gavin, because he's a fighter and he's not a typical, he just doesn't come across as that spiritual guy. He's a tough guy.
Yeah.
He's tough. He's disciplined. He's a fighter.
Fully
he's
masculine.
Yeah,
all
very
of
masculine, because he teaches men how to be men. Right? And so he's this masculine spiritual guide.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was masculine guy.
Yeah.
But there's still elements of that which in me were undeveloped in that area.
Yes.
And he was the one that brought him out.
Wow.
Right? But so he brings them out, and while he said to me, now you've done this, why don't you run an ultra marathon? Just for fun.
So here you go.
So we step up to the plate and we train for this 111 kilometer ultra marathon called the Guzzler in Brisbane. This is about 3 years ago. Okay. And incidentally, Gavin was training with us, his daughter, my wife, and her sister. Wow. So we're going on this mission together.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're training. We're doing 70 kilometers a week.
Right.
Training for this ultra marathon. So getting up on a Sunday morning at 4, going to the hills in Nerang and walking these hills, 35 kilometers, boom, boom, boom. And we're doing this training, and on the hills,
so fit.
His daughter says to my wife, who was atheist at the time, why don't you come to Glow and have a look at church?
Yeah.
Because Gavin was trying to get me to go. I was like, oh, yeah, right? Little bits at a time.
Yeah.
And so my wife says, okay. So we go along.
Cute.
And then over time, she gets baptized. She starts understanding the walk with God, walk with Jesus. She's starting to, and my whole Christian belief and spiritual life, I want to say, really, is coming alive again.
Wow.
Right?
Beautiful.
So we do that together. But what's fascinating is that all of the principles that I've been following, it's all like,
it's all connected,
it's all
right?
biblical. It's all principles. It's Proverbs driven. It's King Solomon. The stuff that we do to have success in our lives, spiritually, in relationships, financially, in our health, and so is all that. Yeah. It's not new.
Yep.
It's just that I didn't realize. So now I'm understanding all of that. I have more of an element of that in me. We're all on a scale of faith.
Yeah.
Right?
Always.
And so we're not, the devil, it's like extreme ends, but we're all on some element of the faith journey.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if we don't know it's there. Because we're spiritual beings.
Absolutely.
We're actually spiritual beings with a physical body that's attached.
Oh my God. I always say this, and I always say we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
We've been here so many times, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like the soul's recognition of knowing what we're here to do. And it's like you've been able to follow that time and time again.
And so
well done.
That's kind of how now I am more thoughtful about being open to spiritual guidance.
Yes.
In whether it's the universe, God, walking with principles of Jesus, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Anyone. If someone says to me, I'm clever, if we're on a piece of rock hurtling around the sun at like tens of thousands of kilometers a second.
What does that mean?
If that's happening and we're here, anything's flipping possible.
Anything.
Right? It's wild.
So
and I
wild.
was looking the other day, and my background's science, so I understand physics and to a small level of physics.
Okay.
But what's fascinating is the elements that make us up, right? I think there's like a table of elements. There's 190, 150 there's elements, right? That make up effectively the world.
Yeah.
And so the same elements that are in stars, I think it's carbon, hydrogen, might be helium, and is it hydrogen? Hydrogen, carbon. There's 4 main ones. I can't think of the other one.
I have no idea, so this is great.
Anyway, so those elements make up the stars in the sky. So if you look at what's in a star, it's primarily those elements. And guess what the same elements are in us?
The same.
The same.
So would it be oxygen or no?
Could be.
That's just what we actually
could be.
ingest.
Could be.
Interesting.
But it's definitely carbon, hydrogen, and 2 others. Could be oxygen and another. But so if you look at the core, they're like the 4 core elements.
Wow.
Right? And so those elements make up the stars.
Wow.
We are pieces of stars. Get this. If you listen to Brian Cox a bit, he says, if you unpack it, because we're from the universe.
Yes.
We don't look up the stars and say, wow, the stars. We're looking up at ourselves. We're pieces of that. But we are an experiment by the universe for the purpose of exploring itself.
This is literally like my big teachings on this earth, Lloyd. And have you ever heard much about starseeds? Have you ever looked into starseeds?
No, I don't know. It's not familiar with me.
Okay, so prior to me being Natalie Paterson Coaching, I actually owned a business called Starseed Society with the intention of awakening all the starseeds to build a society. When I first got into my spiritual development, I started researching, like, why the fuck am I on this earth? Like, if we're literally, I used to say this to myself all the time, we're literally just floating around in the universe on an earth, and we're like in a meat suit. Like, what is the purpose of this reality? Like, why are we here?
Yes.
Right? And I kept thinking this over and over and over again. And I'd have try and have all these conversations with people like, why are we here? Why are you here? Why do you think we're on earth? Like, why do you think we're a human? Do you remember your past lives? And I was fascinated by wanting to understand the human experience. And so then I started doing some research and I found starseeds. Now, there are 24 starseed races in the universe, right? Different dimensions, different realms, and different starseed races are connected into all of us. Like we are starseeds that have come to Earth. This is my belief system, right? I believe that before we chose to come to Earth, we signed a contract with our spirit guides, our team, whatever it might be up there. And we come down to Earth and we're like, right. So you came down to Earth, you're like, right, I'm going to teach you the word about money. And you just like sign this contract, like, yeah, okay. You put your little fucking suitcase, backpack, and you like come down to Earth, at your mum. And then you're like, right, you're born into Earth. And then you've got to go through your life, picking up the pieces, realizing that you're actually here to have a bigger mission, a bigger purpose on this earth because you're a starseed. And when this landed for me, I was like
a seed of consciousness, like your spirit.
Well, it's
effectively
they are beings, or we are beings that have come from different star systems, star races, star councils. So I am a Syrian starseed. So they're two Syrian. Sirius is stars. I'm sure you probably know that. And there is, within the dimensions, there are so many different Syrian collectives. And so my lifetime prior to this was actually a Syrian. So I've chosen to come to Earth right now at this time to actually help Earth. And actually, when I talk to the Syrian collective, they have actually told me that I'm an ambassador for the Syrian collective on Earth at this time in this consciousness.
It's amazing.
Oh my God, it's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, so then my whole teaching is about starseeds awakening to their true potential of who they truly are.
So good.
Oh my God, it's
yeah.
so cool.
But you know how many people are walking around without
any idea
of their true
their
potential
true purpose.
and purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. Like most. It's really interesting because there's this saying, in the beginning we shape our buildings. And in the end our buildings shape us.
Oh, Lloyd.
So you think about how society works now, we're all being shaped by it as it has become. But in the very beginning, it would have been us shaping it.
Yes.
And we would have had a lot more free-flowing creativeness. It just would have been
so different.
Less robotic, less automated, and less beaten up. And I think people are walking around in the paradigm of, they're stuck in the matrix, so to speak.
They're stuck in the matrix,
right?
That's right. And they're fully asleep to what's going on around them.
Yeah, totally.
And this is why I think that...
Even on a small scale.
Yeah. The star seeds that are here to actually wake up. Like, you think about how many beautiful people you come into contact now that are fucking awake, that are really, truly here doing their mission. However, like you mentioned before, some of them are only playing at like a 10% or a 20%.
Yes. Yeah.
And even I know myself, I've only been really on this entrepreneurial journey for the last year and 9 months in this exact business. Yes, I've been a business owner for the last 6-7 years. However, really truly in the self-development world for the last year and 9 months. And still now I'm like, fuck, I'm playing small. There's so many things that I could do to move the needle to get to another bigger picture. Like even you talking about creating the book, and I was like, fuck, I need to write a book. Literally all day today I've been like, I need to write a book. And then even now you talking about it is inspiring me even more. I'm like, I need to fucking write a book.
Well,
this is the piece.
You leverage certain tools and
Makes
systems
sense.
and talents and people to scale your message. Like
I really truly believe also too in modeling people, and you model people who are already successful, see what they've done, and you are someone who is great to model. And the more I get to know you, the more I spend time with you, I'm like, fuck, he's done incredible things. God, you've done some fucking cool stuff, man.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It's so cool.
Yeah, David Goggins talks about. You read his book, Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins?
No, I haven't actually.
Anyway, he talks about the cookie jar.
Right.
And it's where you look back on your past at the hard things that seemingly were hard and fairly rare that you've done that were challenging to you. And you can reach into the jar and pull out the cookies anytime you need them when you're in a hard spot.
Nice.
So anytime you do things that are challenging and you overcome them, you build up and you compound this resilience, you compound this self-belief, you compound this confidence, right? And you compound skills and knowledge and nuances and thoughts, right? So if you're compounding those challenging things, you lay it on top of each other. Yeah. So eventually when you get to this pinnacle moment, people look at it and go, oh, wow, and you go, well, I had to go through all that before I did this. Yeah, I say to people and joke around, I had to go get my head punched in a boxing fight to meet someone who could help me do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And so I really, really appreciate it. And I really, really respect it. And I really, really value it.
Yeah.
Because of what it took to get there. It's not like someone just gave me a referral.
No.
It's like,
You had to
I
play
do.
the game of life,
Yeah,
right?
so I think about it. I had to have the hard conversations with my dad and tap out of the CFA charter to build a network marketing business, to actually be in the top % of that, to be on the stage that day, to be presenting, to win Man of the Year, to then be asked by that guy, Gavin, who's my friend, to go and do his boxing, to then stay with it, finish the fight, get fighter of the series, and get his attention, to then hang around him to get an introduction to what could become the book. Like, you think about all the things.
The whole journey of it.
It's
yeah,
like
man. Well done.
right? So
Yeah,
every
man.
successful endeavor you complete and do will lead to and unlock another box.
Yes. Did you ever play Crash Bandicoot when you were younger?
Yeah, I did briefly.
Okay.
It was kind of like I was younger, so I mean I was older.
Oh,
then,
you were
so.
old. You were. Oh, yes.
I'm an oldie.
There's a few years of difference in the years.
Yeah.
So I always have this saying, like, you know, we're here in potentially a simulation, right? We've got no fucking idea what's actually going on.
100%.
And if we're playing Crash Bandicoot, you know, you'd like run, you'd jump on a box, you get some apples, and you keep leveling up. And it's just like how we go through life, how we grow through life is like consistently being able to get the apples, collect them, get on another fucking level, and just continue to evolve.
Yes.
And it's so cool.
Well, evolution is like gives you this joy. And so I think people are very unhappy and anxious and stressed and sad. Not even sad.
The Matrix, though.
It's just because they're not like.
They're not fulfilling their purpose, though, right?
Well, Tony Robbins says that
I always
he talks about the art of happiness.
Yeah.
He says it's the secret to happiness. And he said the secret to happiness is achievement and fulfillment. So it's like achieving things that fulfill you.
Yeah.
And so I think
So simple.
it is, but we're so stuck in these paradigms and these society prisons of what will people think of me if I leave my secure job? What will they think of me if I don't buy a house straight away?
Yeah.
What will they think of me if I don't have kids? What will they... Everything is this... We're bound by the buildings that I was talking about before.
Yes.
We're bound by them and they were just like this. Whereas I don't think I've been bound by them because I'm a contrarian.
Nice.
I love doing the opposite of what people do because
Same. This is
I like to
probably why we
kind of
get
like...
along.
I like to...
Fucking go
irritate
against the
things.
grain. Yeah, me too.
I'm an irritator. I like to...
Yeah.
You know?
I like to disrupt the mind, right? Me too.
I like to because I often think of my mortality and I'm just like, we're here for a flipping, not a long time, but a short time and an interesting time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna test things and push things. Yeah, I think so.
Do some
And there's
weird
obviously
shit.
people that do it at a greater level, like Andrew Tate does it at a greater level. And he's worked the game out. He's an agitator.
Yeah.
And he agitates.
It's that polarity, isn't it? Yeah.
And he's just, if you probably hang out with him in privately with that,
he's probably really chill.
yeah, because he's worked out the game. And the game is, I will get more attention if I'm polarizing.
Yeah,
if I get more attention, I can leave my message on the earth more, and leave a legacy.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of balls to do that because you get attacked. And I think of someone when I think of this, and this is not a political podcast, or we're not going, but it's
Be all of you,
bygones be
mate.
gone. It's like, I think Donald Trump is one of the toughest mentally resilient people in the world.
Absolutely.
He has got shit on more than any human being I can think of in the past probably 50 years, since maybe Martin Luther King, or maybe Hitler, but in a way where he's disrupting.
Yeah.
So like Martin Luther King got assassinated, or the great presidents like JFK got assassinated.
Yeah.
Like if you start shifting the
this,
matrix out of bounds, bad shit happens. And so Andrew Tate talks about that, and Donald Trump. Now I like them because they're tough.
Yeah.
I like them because they don't care what people think.
Yeah.
I respect them for those things.
Yeah, it's resilience, isn't
Yeah,
it?
you don't have to love them or, share the same value, but I respect them. And so when it comes to people stepping out of the box,
Yeah.
that's courage.
That's courage.
People don't have the courage. They don't have the courage to jump on a podcast and talk into it. They
Yeah.
don't have the courage to do a Facebook ad. They don't have, because when you do Facebook ads, you just get slammed.
Yeah.
You put yourself up on a parapet and you get hammered. Every day I'll get hate. A friend of mine said, I prayed a prayer.
I prayed a prayer. Yeah.
Said,
nice.
God, please give me more haters. Because I knew if I had more haters, my message was getting bigger. And he said, that was a stupid prayer to pray, wasn't it? Because it happens. In a good way, you have to understand you're going to get 40% of people not liking you for no reason.
Yeah.
Like people watch this, right? And they listen to us here. Half people, or
All
maybe
these people
and a
love
half.
us. They do.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe
You
they're,
do.
but irrespective, you're going to get judged. Right?
Yeah.
But you know what? I always think about this. Tell me all about your great grandfather. Go.
Right.
Right.
Of course.
So in the next, call it 200 years, you and I will be forgotten by history.
Yeah. So who gives a fucking just make the most of it while you're here?
Exactly.
Yes, guys.
So question your mortality on a daily basis,
Yep.
and understand that you are a spiritual being here on an exploration. You're here to explore. You're here to enjoy. You're here to go through all of the emotions of anger, sadness, despair, hopelessness, success, achievement, joy. It's part of the experience.
Yeah. And so enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah.
I love
And
this.
people get hung up on like, what if this? What if that? And I was talking to my crew yesterday. I've got this mentorship program, my main program I have, that people come through and get mentored in the 5 steps to millions in my book.
Nice.
The 5 key elements of building success in finance and money and in life, right? And we talk about all sorts of stuff. And I think it was one of them I said, it might have been on a discovery call I had with one of them when they start. I said, at the end of the day and at the end of your life, at the end of the game, I said, the king and the pawn go back in the same wooden box. They do.
Yeah,
So
nice.
people can hang up on this
Yeah.
and that. I'm like, we're all going in the same wooden box.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Just make the most
Go
of it while
play
you're
the game
here.
how you want to play the game.
Play the game, yeah.
Right?
Nice.
So anyway, there's some of my
Amazing.
backstory.
So, Lloyd, tell me, what has been one of your biggest spiritual experiences that you've ever had?
I think Gavin being sent. He's an evangelist.
Okay.
And
What does evangelist mean?
like someone who spreads the word. The
Of
good word.
what?
Word
Of life.
God, life, spiritual gifts. Right?
Evangelist.
An evangelist, yeah.
Oh, that's a
So-
great word.
So he's a spirit guide for me
Yeah.
as a boxer. And that just suits me. Because he has
Do you
to,
still box with him now?
I just did a podcast. I dropped the podcast
Yeah.
probably 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And what was the title of it? 40 rounds for my 40th.
Oh, nice.
So he's such a good spirit guide. He pushes me, and we've had some adventures together. And every
Yep.
time he pushes me, like the 100-kilometer ultra, the boxing fight, this, that. Another one was on my 40th birthday, which is only a month ago.
Yeah.
He
Happy
said,
birthday.
righto, thank you.
Okay.
For your 40th, you know what's going to happen. And I know you hang around the boxing community long enough, you know on your birthday you do the amount of rounds that your birthday is.
Wow.
So he said, come on 40 rounds. I'll get 5 blokes out there and we'll do 40 rounds for your birthday.
Yeah, right.
So that for me was 40, thankfully 1 minute rounds. In boxing, it's usually 2 to 3 minutes, but
Right.
it's 1 minute.
Right.
But we're doing 40 consecutive rounds. So I'll do 40 consecutive rounds,
Yep.
no rest.
Wow.
That's 40 minutes, Nat, with fresh guys. So they're coming
and
out
were you
fresh.
Fucked?
That would be an understatement.
Yeah, right.
And on the going down to Gavin's house in the car,
Yeah.
you can imagine what that's like to
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It's
like
brutal.
Like it's brutal. I can't even begin to tell you how horrible it is as an experience when you're in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I knew this.
Okay.
And then you start to think of ways to tap out and
Yeah.
excuses. And this
Yeah,
This
this
is like-
is the mental game, right?
Totally,
This
of course
the,
it is.
The whole internal dialogue.
now thankfully I've been in this game. I've been, whether it be walking into a big exam or it's going to be walking onto stage for my bodybuilding or it's walking onto stage to talk to 7,000 people, public speaking, or it's to run ultras or boxing, whatever.
Yeah.
I've been in the place where the spotlight's on me and I can fail.
Yeah, right.
100%.
Good
So I know what that feeling's like. So I know who to the talk to trust and talk to distrust. So on the way down there, I'm like, I'm just not going to listen to that lizard.
That
that's
little
right?
ego that's trying
Yeah.
to keep you small. Yeah.
the wimp in there. So I'm not going to listen to that. Now, are you a little bit scared? Yes, because you're like, this is going to suck,
Yeah.
right? It's going to hurt. And not just like, it's not.
Did you hurt your face?
But it's
really?
not about the
body.
punch. Well, good news is when you get, like, they know you're doing 40 rounds. So you're
So
not,
they're
you're not going to
kind
get a
of,
fresh guy out there and start belting you around and getting you the guy and dropping. It's not a full contact 40 rounds. It's a 40 rounds of sparring.
Right.
And the idea
Tough.
was not to test you in terms of getting whacked and getting knocked out and get back. It's to test your ability to keep going.
Right.
Because you are so tapped out. The lactic acid is so extreme. It's poison in your body. It's poison. You feel like every part of your body
Oh my
is just
God,
cooked.
Lloyd.
And all you want to do is quit.
Yeah.
And so I knew that was going to happen because I'd done enough rounds with Gavin to know that's going to suck.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I said, do I want to tell this story on a podcast one day or not? Do I want to tell my future
Fuck
son or
yeah.
daughter? Do I want to tell this story or do I
Yeah.
want to tap out to this story?
Right.
I want to tell a story. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
So I got there, 40 minutes. At the end of the round, I start throwing up in the round 39
Yeah. No.
just because I'm so cooked.
Yeah.
And he said, keep going,
depleted.
keep going, keep going. So I finish it. And I was so proud. It was an amazing experience. So I did a whole podcast episode on it.
Cool.
Now, what's interesting is that that's the type of guy that he is. So he brings out the best man in me
No.
because iron sharpens iron. So he sharpens my iron, I sharpen his iron.
Yeah. Cool.
And when you find friends like that, they're very rare.
yeah.
So I talked to him yesterday and he's about to go away with his family and to live in Europe. He's
Wow.
that sort of a gnarly dude.
Yeah.
Anyway,
How does
He
that make
is.
him gnarly him going to Europe though?
Well, with his family of 7, he's got 7 kids.
7 kids. 7 kids. Wife's not included in the 7. She's 8.
No, there's 7 children plus his wife Michelle. So anyway,
That's gnarly in
yes,
itself.
it is because
Yes.
he's not letting excuses get him down to why he can't move to Europe.
Right.
Because what's the matrix?
Yeah.
Kids got to stay in
Fear,
school. Da 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 da. What if this? What if
that.
that? He doesn't live like that. He lives like he's going to die one day.
Yeah, cool.
And so I've learned so
Love
much from that
that.
paradigm. I've learned a lot from my dad living like that because my dad lives in present too.
Yeah.
Gavin lives in much like that. And so I try and take from those men the lessons that I can take from them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
Gavin's been a huge spirit guide for me. My dad has been massively instrumental in my journey too. Not to
Yeah,
get
cool.
like,
And are you guys really close?
yes,
Sounds like it?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
love that.
So I think if you
Do you have
want
any siblings?
yeah, I've got a brother and 2 sisters. My brother's a
about
captain
two?
in the army.
Okay.
He's an officer.
Cool.
He's been to Afghanistan and Iraq, and he's
Wow.
right. And my sister's a nurse,
Yep.
and my younger sister drives trucks in the mines. She's
Nice.
badass, right?
Badass.
And so he's the type of spirit guide that I needed.
Yeah.
And so when you say to me, have a spiritual awakening, all of those things I've done with him have been a spiritual journey because I even went back and found my faith, back and got rebaptized with my wife. I walk in a spiritual world more so than ever
Yeah.
because I ask for help from
the
God.
universe.
I
God,
do.
Yeah.
I do because it's not. I've learned that it's just not my effort. I thought it was, but I've been given gifts, unfair advantages.
Yeah.
But I'm more in tune with my tuition than I ever was because
nice.
I'm like, this happened the other day on Sunday.
Yes. Tell everyone this story.
So I went on Sunday. I went to. I mean, there's a couple of things that happened, but I'm about to buy. On Friday, I went to buy my wife a new little puppy because we lost our puppy, our dog of 15 years, like a few months ago, and she's gutted because it's like an accessory for her.
baby.
You don't get my wife without a dog.
Yeah.
It's like getting Barbie without the accessories.
I
So it's
have a
like,
dog like this.
Yeah,
He's my life.
Yeah, so he was such a big part of our family that you go in the house, it's just like empty.
Of course.
So I'm like, I need to buy a little puppy. And so I'm like, anyway, so I did that on Friday. And on Monday, I knew I was going to go figure out, pick him up, bring him back and surprise her. And if you go to my Instagram, you'll see the whole story of how I surprised her, literally, right? It's a very
Yes.
cool story.
So cool.
And on the way to this thing on Sunday for her mother's birthday in Mount Tambourine, we go up to the St. Bernard's Hotel there to have lunch. And we
Love
pull
Mount
up,
Tambourine.
right? Now, you would understand like numbers. What are they called?
Spirit numbers.
Spirit numbers, right?
Spiritual numbers. 777,
Yes,
555,
yes,
444.
yes.
I get it.
Right? So for our whole journey through our network marketing build,
Yep.
my educate, like we're always reminded, like there's things like 1111 pops up everywhere.
Everywhere.
On the radio, when I send messages, I send 1111, right?
It's the
Okay?
thing.
It's the thing. Because all it did to us was tell us we're on the right path. And so we kept listening and it was fine.
course.
Everything would work out. So we get out at St. Bernard's. Yes. And she goes to me, look at that. I looked over at this car. And on the car, it had the number 1.
Yeah.
And then the word 1.
Yeah.
1, 1. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. She goes, no. Look next to it. And there's a different car next to it. And it had the word 1 and then the number 1. So I went, 1, 1, 1, 1. And we're like, get out of here. I was like, what the like the 2 cars parked next. Now, obviously, they're family. But it didn't matter. I was
Wild.
like, that is wild. That's the most gnarly 1, 1, 1, 1 I've ever seen. It's not on the radio. It's not. It's there. What's
So
crazier
cool.
is when I was in Orlando 2 months ago delivering a keynote, my biggest keynote to date, 7,000 people
Well done. Well done.
at this big event in
bro.
Orlando in the
Well done.
USA, and I'm walking on stage. And before I walk on the stage, I'm doing practice, and you're on this big stage,
Yeah.
huge, biggest
Yeah,
stage I've ever been
yeah,
on,
yeah.
right? And my wife
So
Alicia took a picture of
cool.
me in the back on the monitor.
Was the living in the
3-3-3-3
Fuck
on the
yeah.
warm up. Okay,
Yeah.
come out to the stage, did the talk, and I forget what it was, but there was something that happened on the time that someone shared from it. And as I walked out to the stage, it was 4-4-4-4. So
Awesome.
we're-
Yeah. It's connected.
these
Everything's
things happen, yeah.
connected.
So it's that I get spiritual awakenings in different ways.
Okay, great.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm guided. Like there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it because
There's no doubt about it. Have you ever done any like past life readings or regressions or anything?
I haven't. I haven't.
Honestly, it's fascinating. I
haven't.
had this one past life regression where a lady, she does a therapy called QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. So basically what she does is she puts you under like a hypnosis where you actually visualize it yourself. So I went back through a past life progression where I saw myself as an avatar being that had a dragon. And I could telepathically connect to this dragon, right? Now,
I really need to do this.
it's so fucking cool. And the visuals, she actually recorded it. The visuals are it was so intense. It was like a full movie in my head. And the audio of it, I remember showing it to my brother and he's like, I can't listen to it because I was crying in it because my dragon got taken away from me and I was hysterically like howling crying. And my brother was like, this is too intense for me to listen to it. Like, I love you. You're my sister. I can't listen to you cry like that. And it was so real. Like, this past life progression reading that I had was the most real movie I had ever seen. And this is like one of the first things that I did when I came into my spiritual development. But that dragon that was in that past life with me, I shit you not, is the reincarnation of my dog. So
Wow.
I always say that my dog is a dragon. And honestly, he's like this tiny little fucking fluffy thing. Yeah. And he's just like this little fluffy dog. Anyway, one of my other friends came over and he's got this spirit guide who's like this dragon dog and his spirit guide sits around his neck. My dog has never, ever in his life sat around someone's neck. Anyway, my friend comes and sits down. My dog, shit you not, comes, jumps and just sits around one of my friends' shoulders. And I was just like, this is fucking wild. Like the little connections that are everywhere is so cool.
It's like those little ones, isn't it? Because
it's the little synchronicity pieces.
You have to be open.
Yeah.
And I think being on a personal development journey brings you to, opens you up from, because
it's like clearing away from the matrix. It's breaking away from the matrix. It's allowing ourselves to heal, transform, transmute. And then it's like, okay, who are we at the essence
you start
of
to
this?
allow
Who are
things,
we at
right?
the core of it, right?
Yeah.
And so, Lloyd, I want to ask you, what has been one of the most challenging things that you have done in your whole life? Like, what is one of the biggest pieces that you're like, fuck, this really shaped who I am as a human, as a mentor, as a leader?
I think throwing myself off the Nevis bungee was really hard because
The Nevis bungee?
it's the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere in New Zealand, in Queenstown.
And why did you decide to do this?
Well,
You're just like, fuck it, here's a
well,
bit of
kind
fun.
of like, well, I'm not like terrified of heights, but I don't like heights.
Okay.
Right?
Me either, actually.
Like
Me either.
jumping out of a plane, I've done that a couple of times. I bought that for Lisbon. I'll jump out of a plane, fine, right?
I did that once and I was like, this isn't for me. My ears hurt so much.
It's like it's okay. Like I
for
did it
me.
the second time because I bought it for Alicia. So I was like, I'll go up again.
Okay.
But it wasn't like I was like,
Oh,
I mean,
right,
it was gnarly because it's like, flying through the air.
Yeah.
But it was like, for me personally, to throw myself off a small ledge on the Nevis, which is this flipping vestibule hanging in a valley.
Yes.
It's like an 8-second free fall bungee. It's stupidly big. Go YouTube it, Nevis bungee. And I've done lots of challenging things, so I can't really nail one down.
Okay.
If I rattled them off, there's probably 12 gnarly things that I've done that have challenged me, truthfully. Like, that most people won't do. And so the Nevis bungee was interesting because what happened to me was it was quite acute mental battle because other battles I've done are like a war of attrition type battles.
Right.
Except for maybe the fight. Yeah, there have been mainly. Even businesses like that. So this one was interesting because it was like in a moment. It's like, dude, it's just like a moment. Like,
and had you planned to go there for long? Were you like, oh, we're going to New Zealand, we're going to do a bungee
We were doing a
jump?
road show for our business down New Zealand. So we drove from the top of New Zealand down to the bottom.
Cool.
With some friends.
What's your favourite place?
I think Queenstown.
Yeah, it's beautiful,
It's
isn't it?
amazing.
It's
And Riverton
gorgeous.
and stuff down the bottom there, beautiful, right?
Gorgeous.
Dunedin's nice. All the southern parts there I love, but Queenstown's flipping next level.
Yeah.
You go to Queenstown, it's like you're in Europe.
Yeah.
So we go into Queenstown, and Alicia had booked the Nevis bungee for us to do prior. Now, I did this dumb thing. I try and logically work out how I'm going to do this because I know it's going to scare the crap out of me because I don't do heights. And how I work things out, I try and find out. I try and figure it out logically. And that's a dumb thing to do with the Nevis because you start looking at YouTube clips of people falling off and like crumbling off.
God.
And your ego gets battered because you're like, will I be able to jump or will I fail and sit up there and puss out and leave? Like, how do you get off, right? It's a hard thing.
So wait, can you like paint me a picture, right? Do you like walk down a plank and then jump off, or are you like on...
I'll paint you a picture.
I need a full picture.
Well, let me explain what happened.
Go on.
And so
Whole
Alicia
story.
books it. It's a week out. So for a week, I'm watching these videos, and my toes are getting clammy at night. I'm not sleeping.
Yeah.
And the last night in Queenstown, we won this trip with our company, so they'd paid for the trip. We're there, and I have to do it now. Like it was whispering my name.
Right.
You big pussy. You fucking pussy.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. You're scared, right? I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And so I'm wrestling with it. So we go, it's the day.
Right.
And the night before, I wake up in like cold sweats and say to my wife, listen, I'm out.
I'm out. Fuck
I
this.
can't sleep. I'm out.
I'm out.
You go bungee. I'll come and hold the coats like a pussy and I'm out, right?
Yep.
And so, and I went to sleep. I tapped out mentally. I literally left.
Yeah.
It was done.
Yeah.
And I was at peace.
Yeah.
Anyway,
nice.
so, and I know quit things, remember, as part of my identity. I step up to the plate. So that's why I had this problem.
Right.
Because for all my life, I'd been stepping up to the plate. And all of a sudden, I've been beaten up. So, wake up the next morning, I was at peace. And my wife goes, so you're not doing it? I'm like, I'm not doing it. And her sister goes, okay, come with us anyway. I'm like, okay, I'll drop you down there.
Yeah, no worries.
So a friend of mine was driving us, and I'm sitting on the back seat of this van going, you big
fucking pussy.
You're letting your wife and her sister go up to this, and
were they super cool with it? They were like, yeah,
they
babe,
were fairly
we're going.
scared, but you couldn't. They were okay, right? Because they hadn't watched all these dumb videos like I did, so they didn't really know what to expect. Pretty clever,
right?
And so they didn't try and coach me. They know what I'm like, so they're like, oh, let's just get it. Let's just whatever.
See what he's like.
Yeah. So then I'm sitting in the car in this mental battle, going, you big pussy, setting your wife up there, and you're holding the coats. Come on, mate. Like,
so moral of the story, guys: do not watch any YouTube videos if you're going to go bungee jumping.
Never.
It's just
Never.
Not a thing. Okay.
But if you're in New Zealand, do this one because it's a huge breakthrough.
It's very good.
So we go there, get to the bungee, and here's what happened. Walk in.
Yep.
And I said, look, I'm happy to bungee, but this is like the world's biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. Can we start off like the bridge bungee or the ledge bungee? There's 3 bungees in New Zealand.
Right.
So the ledge is where you just jump off a ledge. It's a slinky. Yay. Right? I was like, do that. Like, let's do that.
Let's do that.
And anyways, and he said, listen, man, why don't you want to do the Nevis? I said, because he goes, what do you want to do? I said, the ledge. He goes, no. Statistically, more people back out of the ledge than the Nevis. He just flipped me. I was like, I'm in. It was like logically sorted my shit out statistically because I'm a statistic.
So the other one's shorter and the other one's longer. He just said, you got to... Wow.
He said more people back out of the ledge than the Nevis. So he statistically just shifted me. So I'm like, okay, I'm in. And I just, in an instant. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, because maybe he's trained.
Maybe he's trained to say
because he knows he wants to give me he knows the value I'll get is up there in facing my fears. So he's there to help me.
Oh,
so he's like
the spirit guy.
Yes.
We love the
guy
bungee
behind the desk
guy.
has just shifted me.
Oh,
right?
we love you. Thank you.
So we get on this bus and you go up this long hill because it's at the top of this hill and they're playing in the bus, I'm on a highway to hell. Over and over. I look to my left. I look to my left. And there's this Asian girl. And she's flipping, no joke, asleep. She's asleep on the bus. I would help. Look, hey. And she's asleep. I'm like, how could you sleep at a time like this? Anyway.
We're on a highway to hell, guys. How can we sleep?
We got there. We get the harnesses on. You know when you get the harness on and your heart starts beating. Anyway, they take you to the edge and they put you in this basket. And the basket goes across.
How big is the basket?
It's quite big because it fits about 5 or 6 of us in there.
Oh, okay.
And you're in your harness and you're in this basket and you clip on and they move you on this line to the middle of this valley where you're hanging on this vestibule where you're going to. It's hanging in the middle of this big ravine.
Wow.
And so they take you on this basket.
That must have been nice though. Or you were probably too stressed to take
You're in the
beauty.
basket. It's definitely quiet. It's now serious. You can't come back.
Okay.
And you're watching people jump off.
Oh my God. This sounds like fucking torture. Fuck that.
And I'm like, and he said, all right, we have to go by weight. Who's the heaviest?
Fuck.
I'm going to go first. Of course.
My heart is pounding. My hands are sweaty just listening to the story.
So
Holy
I get
shit.
there and you get off to the vestibule and the floor is perspex clear. You can see through the floor. And you get in and you go to, and so you're lining up at the back and you're watching people go off.
No.
And then they call your name and the first stage of it is to go and sit in what's called the dentist chair. So you sit in the dentist chair.
Why do they call it the
because
dentist chair?
Because it looks like a dentist chair. It's like it goes back like a dentist chair. And they hook your feet up, and they put your harness on, and you're in. You can't back. And the dentist chair hangs over the ledge.
Oh my! Because you're just like
you're like,
head's
okay, I'm going. And my wife and her sister are sitting there. I'm like, it's
I'm
time
on the
for me.
highway to hell.
It's time for go with God. It's time. So you shuffle forward, and we all made a pact. When they say bungee, we're jumping, right? So I get to this little ledge, and you got to walk to this square plate of steel, and it's just sitting there. And below you is so big, and you've got to jump off this flipping thing, right?
Right.
And they go, all right, now you ready? I'm like, all right, well, ready for what? Like, they go, all right.
I'm born ready, mate.
Let's go. They go this. They go, okay, look up at the camera and say hello. Okay, look straight ahead, and 3, 2, 1, bungee.
And you're off. And you're off.
And I just threw myself off. Just committed, like
nice.
You're committed, right?
Fucking
and I bungee
hell.
off, and I finish, and they pull you back up.
Right.
You don't fall off the bottom.
Wait, do you just fling and then do you hang
Mate,
a couple of times?
You
Like, I need the full
fall.
visuals.
You 8-second free fall.
Right.
You have time to scream twice, as in
Wow.
you scream your lungs out.
Yeah.
And scream again.
Okay.
And you get to the bottom and it slinks you up. Whoa, you know what's going on. And then once, and then you're up a little bit, and then you're done.
Okay.
And then it drops you, but then they slowly bring you back up. And you've got to flick your harness and pivot back up and sit in it like a swing. And it takes you all the way back up.
Wow.
And then to swing you in. And then my wife did hers.
Oh my God.
So I
and
said,
what was it like? What did you feel after you bungeed?
I was just like it was a breakthrough moment.
Yeah.
Right? Because I had overcome fear, courage, like
all of it, every layer.
In a morning. So I'm like on a high. Now, I think of that because mentally, I had never like quit that and gone back.
Yeah.
But I think about things like my CFA charter exam for 6 hours, a whole year to study, and failing it twice. Are you kidding me? Like, and step back up. Like, that was hard.
Yeah.
Fighting was hard.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding was hard.
Yeah.
Building 2 businesses to 7 figures was hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's hard shit. Like,
Yeah, fucking oath.
lots of stuff I've done's hard.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, do you want to tell the story about this or not?
Yeah.
So what's cool about this
nice.
podcast with you,
Yeah.
when you ask those questions, I have story after story after story of
yeah.
shit that I've done that's hard that I'm super proud of.
Yeah.
And I
good
think
on
for
you.
people who are listening to this, if you want to build self-confidence, where you find it is not in like,
Your comfort zone.
you find it on the hills of like finishing that 100-kilometer ultra marathon. There was 120 people started, 350 tickets sold. Think about that. So most people don't make it to the start line of life, let alone get in the race.
Yeah.
Then 50% of people didn't finish that.
Yeah.
And so like, I think of those things, and they're the things that will build self-confidence, self-belief.
Yeah.
And that's where you can walk in. That's why when I walk into a place like this with you and you say the cameras are on and what do you want to edit out? I'm like,
Fucking who cares?
dude,
Let's just go.
I felt like
We're
I've
all
stared
in.
death in the eye. Like,
Let's go.
I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think what happens in these moments, and also doing personal development with Preston and Alexi,
Yeah, nice.
I did this with Preston Smiles like years ago, and they actually challenged me on the emotional side of things. And I remember being in a room of 80 people bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
And that was also very challenging for me.
Because it's vulnerable, right? It's
Totally.
The masculine,
Yes.
quite masculine is to be vulnerable.
Correct.
It's
So when I did that keynote in Orlando,
Yep.
that was very challenging because I was only told 5 days before the event that I'm going to deliver it because someone pulled out. So to build a
So
speech,
that's great because you probably didn't have time.
totally.
Do you feel if you have more time, you've got more time to worry or fear?
Yes, like the
Yeah.
bungee, right?
Bungee, fuck yeah.
So I go out there and I had to cry in this talk. And
You had to, or you got to.
I didn't have to, but I chose,
you chose
to
to. Yeah, yeah.
do it. And it was like this pinnacle moment of speaking. And because I'd done that work prior,
Yeah.
I could tap into that.
Wow. Oh my
Right?
God. So what you're telling me is if I want to speak on stage in front of 7,000 people, I should go and do the bungee jump in New Zealand. All right. Noted.
Do all those things. But I think it all
Noted.
makes a difference, right?
Well, I mean, it's
Do all those things.
it's all pieces are like leveraging one on top of the other
Yeah.
so that it builds you
Yeah.
to that big ultimate courage codes.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. I teach a lot about courage codes
Yep.
that, you know, for you as an entrepreneur to get to the next level, like you need to push yourself into a point of, I call it the shit my pants zone. Where can you go and find shit your pants zone even more and go through it? Go through.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, Steve Farber calls that, he taught me that he called the oh shit moments.
Oh shit, man, it's nice. I like to say shit my pants. Then I'm
Yeah,
like,
totally.
do you
though.
need a diaper?
But you look at all
You
the
know?
things I've spoken about, that's all shit my pants moments.
Fucking oath, man.
like-
Live your life by shit your pants moments. Very proud of you.
Well, someone said to me once, I love this quote, they say, life begins on the wire. Everything else is just waiting around.
Yes.
Right? So life begins on the tightrope. So like that's when you're shitting your pants.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where you're living the most.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
everything else is waiting around for those moments.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, you can get one good one a year.
Yeah.
You know, a couple good ones a year
Yeah.
will
good
help
one.
you.
I love this.
know?
And I just wanted to go back to, so you were about to tell me as well with Alicia, when you finished the bungee, then you had to watch your wife bungee. What was
Yes.
that like witnessing her bungee?
Well, I knew that she was going to get a big breakthrough from it, so I was
Yeah.
really excited for
the-
her.
yeah, nice.
And when I came up and said, "You're going to love this," so I could fill her with some
Aw,
self-belief.
That's nice. You're beautiful.
So she jumps off, but the funny thing happened to her. You'll laugh at this
Mm.
because she didn't watch all the YouTube clips. She didn't realize how hard you had to pull the thing at the bottom to flick yourself up. And thankfully, that's one thing I did get out of the YouTube clips. So because she didn't watch them, she didn't see. and she couldn't flip it. So she got pulled up upside down and it shot her eyeball out and gave her a red eye of all the blood.
Oh my God.
She's spinning, coming up
That's
from the like this.
hectic.
And she's spinning, going, get me off of this thing.
Did they not
And a
tell
red-
you? Did they not tell you to fucking?
You have to
Do
watch
that?
the clips to see how hard they pull it.
Wow. And if you're not strong enough, does that not do it? Jesus. It was actually like when I was coming down.
Poor thing is.
Poor thing.
But she's
poor
tough. Like,
babe.
she's great. She did the ultra with me.
Right. Good
She
on
did
her,
the
babe.
bungee with me.
Good on her.
She's tough, man. She's been on stage. I've seen her. She has courage.
You've seen her fully evolve as
Courage.
well.
She got courage.
Woman. I
Yep,
love
she's
this.
impressive.
When I bungee jumped. Oh, when I what's it called? Out of the plane?
Skydive?
Yes. When I skydived, my ears hurt so fucking much. I couldn't think about anything else. My ears were
Did your
in
goggles come off or anything?
Nah. My ears were in so much pain.
Like, get me out of this.
I was like, fuck, I need to leave.
Yeah.
But when I used to travel, actually, like going up and down in a plane, my ears used to like ache, like fully ache. And then I realized that actually it was like, I reckon it was just my unconscious mind processing like that was my fear. Like my body was like, "Ah."
Yeah. Just like, get me out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, it permeates in different ways, right? It does.
So Lloyd, tell me, what is one piece of advice that you would give to an entrepreneur at the start of their journey? To wrap it up, to bring it home.
All right, here's what I'll give.
Go
This
on.
is the advice I'll give.
Great.
The entrepreneurial journey seems sexy, and
Yeah.
it is because it's cool because you're free flowing and you've got autonomy.
Yeah.
Everything is wonderful about it,
Yeah.
but it's like the ultra. Some people don't get to the start line, some people don't finish, right?
Nice.
And so be prepared for it to be like that.
Yep.
But here's my advice. Do not go into it expecting things to work out. Go into it expecting everything to break, and you begin the entrepreneurship journey as a fixer.
Yeah, nice.
Like you have to approach it that everything's gonna not work out pretty much, and you'll find it broken.
Yeah.
You'll find the entrepreneurship journey when you start it, everything's broken. It's all in pieces.
Yeah.
And you have to go about problem solving each piece together, and you'll have setbacks. But as you build it, right, you'll continue to fix problems. And so the whole idea of scaling your journey up is that you will always be a problem solver, all to the very top.
Yeah.
But that's great because it makes it an infinite game. And what's great about that is that it's better than being in a job where you can't fix problems to the top to an extent. You are dictated by many things outside your control in that realm, and it doesn't bring out the best in you. So entrepreneurship is a personal development journey with a compensation plan attached.
Oof, I love that. Thank you so much, Lloyd. I really so appreciate you being here. So, Lloyd, if people want to get to know you, learn more about you, how can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Lloyd James Ross. Double L in the first name, at Lloyd James Ross. Hit me on Instagram. Follow me.
Cool.
Talk to me.
Do all the things?
Yeah, do all the things. And if you want to learn about, like, I know we've spoken about lots of stuff here.
We did.
But typically I usually get on podcasts to talk about money and investing and stuff. If you want to learn that stuff, go to my free podcast, Money Grows on Trees.
Yep.
You'll love it.
You'll
Dive
love
into it.
Yep.
I think you can leave comments now on Spotify. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. That is
Yeah.
very cool.
I think you can leave comments on Spotify on episodes now. So if you do follow it and you want to leave a comment, that'd
Go
be cool.
for it. Yes. love
Engage.
that.
Engage.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so thrilled. Thank you. I'm
Yay.
very, very honored to be here with
Thank
you. So.
you. I so appreciate it. And
You bet.
also, guys, all the descriptions and the links will be down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I so deeply appreciate all of you, and we will speak to you soon. I have channeled through 2 incredibly powerful and potent group coaching programs. One is for the entrepreneurs who want to get to consistent 10K months, learn everything that I have in the systems in the back end of my business, how I've helped other entrepreneurs scale to 10 and 20 and 30K months, how I've been able to cultivate so much certainty in my business by my spiritual tools, my spiritual gifts, and also the strategies and the structure to actually making your goals a real reality. So that is Business Container 1. Taking you quantum, baby. It's called reclamation of the soul's purpose. The second business container is called Cash Codes and Clients. This is for all the entrepreneurs who are already at, that 20, 30, 40K months, and they are wanting to scale beyond multi 6 figures and 7 figures. This is strategy, structure, spiritual fucking woo-woo codes, 5th dimension. There is 3 live events and 9 months of full support of me channeling in your business. If you would like to learn more, the links are down below. Both options have payment plans, finance available, and also pays in fulls, of course. Babes, if you want to work with me, if you feel the call to work with me and learn more about my magic, please DM me now at Natalie Paterson Coaching or the Ascension Codes _.